Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of NFL Draft Triple Take presented by UPMC. We are the fearsome threesome of pre-draft analysis. Mike Prisuta from the DVE Morning Show and Steelers.com, joined by SNR's The Drive tag team, Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson. You can also hear those guys on the Steelers Radio Network pregame show that I host in season, out of season, and particularly at this time of the off season. We are talking draft, and it is tight ends that we're talking about today. And Dale, I'm curious, some interesting prospects, as there seemingly always are, but when you look at that veteran free agent list, are the teams that need a tight end going to get one there, and is that going to knock these guys down maybe further than they would go in another year?
You know, that's possible, Mike. You know, there's a theory out there that Matt certainly subscribes to, and I do as well, that it takes tight ends usually until about the time they're 28. They kind of hit their peak. So I just think because there's so much thrown at them, you know, they're working the middle of the field a lot of the times. They have to block as well as run pass patterns. So there's a lot involved there with the position. And so you may, if you're in the market for a tight end, look to that veteran, you know, cheap veteran guy, as opposed to bringing in a rookie who you know, may take 2 or 3 years to develop.
Yeah, Mike, along those lines, I mean, I think there's a thought process of maybe I don't want to draft that guy and develop him, and then his contract's up, and so he goes somewhere else for big money. You know, like Steelers grabbed Vance McDonald a couple of years into his career, and they got the best years out of him where the Niners didn't. And this class, to me, certainly doesn't have anything resembling Kyle Pitts coming out. And I'd take Pat Freiermuth over anyone in this class as well. So maybe these are projects, twos that turn into ones, but it's an interesting class of tight ends. And there's a lot of them, though.
I think it's deeper than last year's class.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, let's get to it and start counting them down from number 5. Dale and I are on the same page at number 5. Matt, you've got Isaiah Likely from Coastal Carolina as your 5th best tight end prospect.
Yeah, this guy's a receiver. You know, I mean, tight end is a very broad term nowadays. I mean, the Mark Bruners of the world probably wouldn't be first-round picks. You know, a guy like Likely would have been an H-back back then, a move tight end, but very productive, not a hammer as a blocker, that's for sure, and dominated against, you know, Coastal Carolina's competition. I mean, he has very good speed, very secure hands, but, you know, how much bigger is he going to get? What's he going to be asked to do at the next level besides catch passes?
Yeah, Dale and I have him at number 4.
Okay.
And, you know, you mentioned Coastal Carolina's schedule, 4 touchdowns against Arkansas State. And I know it's Arkansas, not Arkansas, or Arkansas State, not Arkansas. But if you get 4 touchdowns, I don't care if you do it against Arkansas State or
that's Polk High-like.
Or 4 Polk High. You took the words right out of my mouth. That's an Al Bundy, 4 touchdowns in 1 football game. This guy's got to be on the list. Dale, you and I have Jake Ferguson from Wisconsin at number 5. I suspected, given his ties to Burgettstown, and more specifically Burgettstown Barry Alvarez, I thought he'd find his way onto your Washington County list somewhere.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. I showed up the first day of the Senior Bowl, and there was an older couple that came in and sat down in the stands down to my right in front of me, and I'm like, well, that's interesting. There's this couple that probably in their 70s or 80s here watching the Senior Bowl practices.
No, where are you going with this?
Little did I know. Was his wife. Yes.
Oh.
Until they got up and were leaving, and I was talking to somebody else. I'm like, oh, that's Barry Alvarez. If I'd have known it was him, I would have gone and talked to him. They were there to watch Jake Ferguson, who is their grandson.
How about that?
And he plays.
Had a really good Senior Bowl. Had a really good Senior Bowl week, and you know, shows he can block. Has good size. You know, he's obviously coming out of Wisconsin. He knows how to run block a little bit. So there's a lot there to like with this guy.
Dale, let's stick with you since you got to actually talk to Barry Alvarez a little bit. I actually ran into him in a bar in Detroit once years ago. It's a good story, but I'll leave it there. Jalen Weidermeyer, Texas A&M.
Yeah, I have him at number 3, and you know, I think if you're looking for size at the position, he's 6'5", 255, has a nice catch radius. He scored 16 touchdowns in 3 seasons over them. He's still a true junior, so he just turned 21 in December. which is always a nice thing. Although, we talked about that, the tight end's not peaking until 28. This guy's going to grow into the position. He's already a pretty good receiving tight end. He holds every career record for tight ends at Texas A&M. They run the ball pretty well. And, he's a big part of that as well. I like the kid. I think he's got some upside.
Oh, I love this guy. I've got him at number 1. Matt, you've got him at number 2.
Okay.
Had a nice game against Alabama, and I thought the variety of catches and his ability after the catch, very impressive. He can make a lot of different types of catches, and he can turn little ones into big ones, can he?
Yeah, really good body control, huge catching radius. I don't think he's real twitchy. It takes him a little while to get going. Like, I bet his 10-yard splits aren't going to be wonderful, and his 40 time might not be great. But he's a smooth mover. He's okay as a blocker. I mean, if you just look at his best blocks, you'd be like, oh, he's a pretty good blocker. But that's not what he's going to get paid to do. I mean, that's for sure. I'm a little on the fence with him. I mean, I have him 2. I just didn't love 3, 4, 5 enough to bump him down. But he's got a chance to go up or down for me. I'm still a little on the fence with Weidermeyer.
Matt, we'll keep it with you because you've got a couple of guys that didn't make my list and didn't make Dale's list. You're number 4, CADE OTTON of Washington. Or if I said it in correct Pittsburghese, Washington, and Jeremy RUCKERT, the Ohio State University.
Yeah, OTTON is a taller, skinny guy. I'm curious what he looks like at the combine too, just in shorts and a t-shirt. What's his weight going to be? How thickly built is he? But he's a pretty darn good blocker, especially considering those dimensions. I mean, he's tall, he's long, he enjoys blocking, good technique. Catches everything. Not super flashy, but a real solid prospect in my opinion. And you mentioned RUCKERT from Ohio State. He's the one that I'm super intrigued with because, we did the wide receiver show. They have so many great pass catchers that they don't throw him the ball. But he was a 5-star recruit. He was the top recruited tight end in the nation. He is a big, rocked up looking guy. And I wonder at the next level, are they going to, unleash what he could possibly do as a receiver? So I could make a case that he should be number 1. But if you go look at his YouTube highlights, they're like a minute and a half long.
Yeah, there's like 5 of them.
There's like nothing there. Right?
He's applauding while Chris Olave scores a touchdown.
Right, exactly.
Touchdown.
Helping him up off the ground, that kind of stuff.
There's a lot to work with there, though.
There's always a guy like that, though, right?
Yeah.
The guy that projects to be way more
like
impactful.
Dawson Knox comes to mind. He was at Mississippi with A.J. Brown and DK Metcalf, and now he's lighting it up for the Bills.
Who was the guy last year? Was it McKinney coming out of
it was Georgia.
Yeah. Georgia.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just too many other weapons.
You do have that at this position. Dale, number 2 on your list, number 3 on mine, Greg Dulcich from UCLA.
Yeah, I mean, I just think if you're looking for a vertical threat at the tight end position, this guy's it. Averaged 17.3 yards a catch last year, racked up 19.9 yards a catch in 2020. He's a kind of a get in the way kind of blocker, but that's you can work with that. Breaks tackles when he has the ball in his hands. I think there's a lot to like here with this guy. The size is okay. He's 6'4", 250. So he's not an undersized tight end by any stretch. I think if you got a guy that at the tight end position that averages, over 17 yards a catch, that's pretty darn good. You're stretching the middle of the field.
I've got TREY McBride of Colorado State at number 2. You've got him at number 1, Dale. I've got Dulcich number 3. McBride doesn't flash, and he certainly doesn't.
He's a throwback.
Doesn't blow people away in terms of the separation he does or doesn't achieve. But, boy, he just plays the game hard and well.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of these – he's probably the most maybe NFL-ready guy in terms of what he's going to be asked to do at the next level in terms of the blocking, the catching. I mean, he had over 1,000 receiving yards last year at Colorado State. I realize it's Colorado State, but he won the Mackey Award. Not overwhelming size, but he is 250. He's 249 pounds. It's just a shade over 6'3", but he's a rocked up athlete. I watched him a lot at the Senior Bowl. Like you said, he doesn't necessarily get great separation, but he catches everything that's thrown his way.
Everything.
Just has great hands, and if the ball's in his area, he gets it. I think he's going to be a solid player for somebody at the next level right away.
Yeah, he's my number one. I would say most years TREY McBride would not be my top tight end. I don't think it's a real top heavy class. And all the things you guys said, I mean, a lot of production, but they're all contested catches, and he plays a lot bigger than he is. Will that translate to the NFL when you step up that level of competition? It'll be harder for him because I don't think he's an elite athlete, and he doesn't have elite size. He's kind of short-armed, 6'3"-ish. But, boy, he produces game after game after game, and everyone on the planet knew where the ball was going in Colorado State's passing game, and they couldn't slow him down.
Yeah, 90 catches last year.
Yeah,
I mean,
right.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, I think, did I see him have a long touchdown on a fake punt? He was the up back, and they direct snapped it to him. And I think he went about 70 yards against somebody. So just a football player, good guy to have on your team, or so it would appear. Good stuff, guys. Matt, I'm going to give you a minus for not having a good Wisconsin boy like Jake Ferguson on your list. I want you to go home and eat some cheese and consider the error of your ways. And
there were 2 or 3 that were narrow misses for me that you guys mentioned. So it's, again, deep class.
I got to be honest with the Burgettstown ties. He's Barry Alvarez's grandson. That did it for me. That's enough to get you.
And again, was the leading receiver at the Senior Bowl this year in terms of in the game, and also had a good week of practice. I thought he really helped himself.
The game stuff was a lot. I think he had a 25-yard touchdown. It was about 21 yards after the catch on one of those play action boots. Good player. And good group of tight ends, although maybe there will not probably be a rush to select them, but we'll wait and see how it plays out. I want to remind everybody, either tuning in or listening or reading, however and wherever you're finding us, that you can get all of these types of programs and content on all of the Steelers' social media platforms. Until next time, for Dale Lolley and Matt Williamson, I'm Mike Prisuta. You've been listening to the NFL Draft Triple Take, presented by UPMC.